I have smelled history before. History does not smell like that. Ahoy! Welcome back to the North. It's NWT Kid Games and such. And in today's episode, I am going to be going off on time capsules. Why particularly? Is it because I have some sort of weird grudge against them? Do I just not like them? Did they, like, betray me in some sort of way? Like, defriend me? Or, I don't know. Like, but stay tuned, because yes, in some regard, I have some backstory where I should have got some stuff from a time capsule. But hey, you know what? Let's just start talking about them and their flaws first, because when you start to actually break down time capsules, they're kind of quirky. So let's do that right now here. So time capsules are kind of a new idea. They're not something that's been around for centuries. You're not going to hear stories of people digging up a time capsule from the 1400s. Thank God, because that's when the Black Plague was rampant. So little things like that, I think, are a blessing in disguise. You don't want to be unearthing disease from another era of time. I don't think that's right. Another century of time. Regardless, they are an interesting phenomenon that has graced humanity, let's say, in the last century. I'm pretty sure the first one that happened was about 1900 something. It was like at a World's Fair, and it was not supposed to be open for like 1,000 years, and it was a popular idea, so popular that it kind of birthed the idea of time capsules, at least modern ones. So let's talk about that. I feel like I should actually look up this time capsule World's Fair. Okay, the word time capsule was first used in 1937 when a capsule was prepared for burial for the 1939 New York's Fair. However, the notion of the time capsule is much older. The Epic of Gilgamesh is considered humanity's earliest literature work. So yeah, 1939 was basically the birth of the modern time capsule, which seems crazy to me because my grandparents are older than that. I thought this concept was a bit older, but let's go back to this sentence I read here about them, and it says burial. And I think that's really problematic about modern time capsules, because if you're going to preserve stuff, putting stuff that you want to save for future time, unless it's food, maybe not putting it in a spot where it will be subjected to cold, like freezing, as well as water damage maybe. Like, there's a lot of stuff that could happen when it's buried, right? But yeah, burial. I thought that was a problem, because that is a reoccurring theme in time capsules, and even the one that I want to talk about that did me wrong. But I want to talk more about time capsules for, like, let's show some examples of ones that went wrong because of burial. So I found an article on mentalfloss.com by Nick Green. I just want to cite the sources here, and he shows 10 historical disappointing time capsules. And actually, can I show my screen here? There we go. This guy basically also pinpoints that, yeah, burial's a bad idea, and people from like 2 generations back probably don't even have interesting stuff to show for us, like the generation that are unearthing it, right? And he's got some good examples here of people like looking at time capsules and just being very, very like underwhelmed, bored with the results, because they're like stuff that people found interesting from the 1930s. God, it wouldn't be like a Game Boy, right? Or like a maybe a record, but the most valuable stuff would be watches and stuff from that time era. The Smell of History of Long Island. For its 350th anniversary in 2015, the residents of Smithtown in Long Island, New York opened a time capsule that had been buried in front of the town hall in 1965. Town residents and officials alike came away unimpressed. Here's a quote: "I would have thought those folks would have used a little more imagination and put some artifacts from that time in that time capsule," Smithtown's then supervisor said. The most interesting thing that came out of that time capsule was the smell. It was horrible. I have smelled history before. History does not smell like that. You can hear lawnmowers. Guess it is May. Okay, so here's a story of a waterlogged time capsule. In 1965, workers at Defoe Shipbuilding Co. in Bay City, Michigan buried the John F. Kennedy Peace Capsule. It was to remain buried for 100 years until city... Okay, well there's a couple of examples of time capsules that went wrong in history, which is unfortunate because, well, it's kind of a big event for the most part if you're going to be making it a communal thing or a community kind of event, and yeah, it sucks if that's the outcome. But I'm gonna now transition to talk about my experience kind of with time capsules. You know what? Let's actually go up to the time capsule. Wait, a little context before we go over to that time capsule. Basically, it was buried in the year 2000 in October, and I was there for it. I put a Pokemon card as well as some other memorabilia, and so yes, it is kind of sentimental, and it was supposed to be unburied after 20 years. Let's go up to it now. So this is the time capsule I'm talking about right here. October 12, 2020. Now, of course, because of the pandemic, this never did open, but they never even mentioned it at all, what's happening with it. So they basically just said, hey, actually they didn't say anything. They did the opposite of said, hey. They hushed up, and now it's 2 years past, or getting close to 2 years past that date here, and there's no mention of this is going to be opening yet. So I would classify this also as a fail time capsule. And because it's also buried, it may be subjected to water damage and whatnot, and smell, all that stuff that we discussed before. But yeah, this is the time capsule that I was talking about that is an ongoing thing in my shower thoughts, everything. I just think about this constantly, if I'm ever going to see what's in it or not. To be continued, maybe not. Anywho, I think that's going to be it for this video, though. Maybe I'll talk about the time capsule if there's any more developments, but follow me on all of these. Check out this video, and we'll see you in the next exciting adventures here in the north. And this school is actually named after my grandfather.